Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy, car enthusiast, and Dave's fiance, Dustin, reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake, environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are inside movies galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are finally going on about one of my choices. Because it takes a little bit to get back to me, but that's okay. Hopefully you aren't blowing any wind today because you are about to inherit some. Oh, wait, that's the name of the movie. For today, a day that I chose. It's called Inherit the Wind, and it was filmed in 1960, and it is based on a real-life trial from 1925, based on the Scopes Monkey trial.
Whoa!
Because this actually happened, and this was before separation of church and state, but it is the beginning of what started the whole process of the separation of church and state to begin with. So, that being said, let's see what IMDb says about the film, and then we'll go into first impressions here. So, like IMDb says, based on a real-life case in 1925, two great lawyers argue the case for and against a Tennessee science teacher accused of the crime of teaching Darwin's theory of evolution. So, going around the room, Tammy, was this the first time watch for you?
Yes. Yeah, I found it very interesting. It makes you think of a lot of things. Let's just put it that way. I myself do believe that there is a God, and I do believe he exists, but Darwin's theory, though, makes you think about things, because you can't possibly have Darwin's theory going on at the same time as God's creation. You can't. They can't both exist at the same exact time, in history.
Oh, yes, at least.
It's impossible.
Well,
David and I were talking about it when we were watching the movie. I said, my theory is that the Darwin thing happened first, and that God didn't like that, and so he fixed it his way. Okay, that's my theory, because there is dinosaur bones, fossils. There's fossils. There's writings on the cave walls. That they date back before the Bible. There's
Yes, and funnily enough, dinosaurs are never mentioned in the Bible.
actually, that's not true.
Really?
That's not true.
But
Where
but
are
I
they
Uh,
mentioned?
I'll later. I'll try to show you you where. Just like um, a lot of people didn't realize that Jesus had brothers and sisters. So
Oh,
but I
uh,
so yeah,
I
this
had
one.
a little pamphlet at one point in time that actually talked all about the fact that dinosaurs actually were mentioned in the Bible.
But see, is that this movie makes me think about all that stuff because I do believe both things are true, but I don't believe they happened at the same time in the same
phew,
time period. So
interesting.
so I the movie, uh I don't agree with um the religious people in the movie, how strong they are in it towards um the the teacher, because because I believe both things did happen, but um the religious people in this movie don't want to believe that anything else besides God happened, and
Okay,
so
they are
yeah.
not mentioned specifically by name by dinosaurs, but there are particularly in the book of Job, they describe creatures that somewhat interpret as dinosaur-like, such as the
Behemoth.
behemoth and leviathan.
Ah,
These creatures are described with characteristics that some associate with large prehistoric reptiles.
But yes,
interesting.
I find the movie very interesting because you to me you have to have an open mind for both situations, for Darwin's theory and for God. You have to have an open mind for both, and that's because that's what this movie is all about. Is it's people don't seem to have an open mind that both things could happen, but you know
Well, yeah, hypothetically, if there is some sort of intelligent creator, I no offense to anyone, of course, but personally, if there is an intelligent creator, I don't think the Bible would be quite the story of how that creator created the world. Uh, but yeah, one possibility is that evolution may be real, but if there is some creator, they could have been supervising and controlling the process of evolution.
Well, I know Darwin went to the islands of the Galapagos Islands and studied all the creatures on that island for very long periods of time, and he studied them long enough to come up with the theory of evolution, which apparently there are apes that live on that island, which he saw many different creatures evolve from one thing to another. So he placed a lot of his theory stems from his observation from this island, and it extended onto other animals, and that's where it comes into more theory than fact, because he then took the evolution of these animals and probably the best connective theory that he had with man was with that of apes, because apes are very man-like. Okay. I'm not sure I entirely believe that we evolved from apes, but I do believe that apes are very intelligent.
Well, the whole thing is, if we did evolve from them, why do they still exist?
Correct.
Well, why do I don't know. I don't know all the English words, but why do the microorganisms, for example, still exist if higher evolutionary forms evolved from them?
I have no idea. And just like the idea that the closest thing to dinosaurs these days are birds, supposedly.
Yes, actually, I hear a lot of dinosaurs being compared to to chickens in particular.
Well, if I remember correctly, even in Jurassic Park, the Velociraptor, even the name means bird of prey. You know that you know its backbone is shaped quite like a bird, and the way it hunts, I guess, according to Alan Grant,
Phew.
was uh, in like same as birds, pack hunters. So, in any case, we're
Yeah,
getting
it's
off
just
topic here.
the movie though makes you think about all of this, and it's like, you know, I don't think there's a right or wrong in these beliefs. It's how strong some of these people are doing these beliefs that's wrong. But I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think you can believe either one or you can believe both. You know, but the whole thing is you can't sit. I think it's wrong to sit here and say that the Darwins doesn't exist, or for somebody to sit here and go, well, God doesn't exist. No, I think you have to have an open mind that both of these things exist.
The Bible tells us not to judge.
Oh,
And
yeah, at least
The Bible
Jesus
tells
said.
us many things of what to and not to do, and one of the biggest things is that you should not judge your neighbor. You should judge your neighbor as yourself. Um,
Actually, it's interesting how this movie doesn't make that many references to Jesus. And Jesus would have actually been the strongest argument against how those people were treating the teacher character.
um, See, I fully believe that religion itself was literally beat into many people for many years, and very strongly enough to have much of the population brainwashed into thinking all of this. If it's not mentioned in the Bible, and if the Lord doesn't tell you to do it, you're supposed to do everything according to the Lord. And that's what a lot of these people refer to as old-fashioned religion, which is why you get that throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, would be interesting to see those people try to live by the book of Leviticus and get themselves in prison.
But in any case, was this a first-time watch for you, Boris?
Yes, it was the first time, and I found it quite interesting, especially because, as you remember, I otherwise am quite fond of various forms of fiction revolving around God, the devil, angels, demons, things like that. I find it interesting.
Did you recognize the mayor from any other movie?
Actually, some faces did look familiar from somewhere, but I wasn't quite sure where to put
Okay,
them.
the guy who played the mayor also played the uh theatrical husband in The Tingler.
Ah,
And he also played something else in, I believe, the movie that started this whole trial movies to begin with. In Boomerang,
oh,
he was in Boomerang. So it's not that I purposely picked this for because of him. It's just he seems to have shown up in a lot of these movies.
well, that's quite interesting.
I just thought it was interesting that we had an actor that connects to some of our previous discussions.
Well, definitely, yeah.
But in any case, what were your thoughts on the movie in general?
Well, I thought maybe the beginning drags a little too long. It takes kind of long to get really suspenseful, but later on it does get better, and I did enjoy all the squabbling in the courtroom. It was quite interesting.
Well, they
Uh,
squabbled outside of the courtroom too, so that was amusing as well.
well, there were some funny scenes, yeah, and yeah, the whole discussion, like science versus religion and so on, it really was quite interesting. It is a topic I like to speculate about otherwise, so I definitely did find the movie interesting.
Well, I thought I thought the movie was interesting too, having Gene Kelly, who is normally known for his dance roles and whatnot, show up as this like reporter, and the dialogue that he had for whenever the because Hornback, I think his name was, um, from the Herald or the Tribune or whatever newspaper he was from. Him and the guy who evidently used to be a politician, and whatnot, who showed up in town. Uh, Friedrich March played him. Which Friedrich March, if you know anything about him, he played in uh, a version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1932
Oh,
as
uh,
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I didn't actually know that. Cool.
30 years before this, thereabouts. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It plays the prosecution.
Sounds kind of ironic.
Just a little bit. But in any case, I've seen this over time. I've seen it once before in its entirety, but I it's often come on TV from time to time, and for some reason I always remember it somewhat because of Gene Kelly and his role. I mean, he makes snide remarks towards the politician, things like, and yet he's the only one in the courtroom that can strut sitting down. And he keeps giving Hornback these looks like, I really don't like this man. But in any case, well, shall we get into the story?
Mm,
Yes, go ahead.
yes.
Well, Darren from I Dream of Jeannie shows up in here uh, um, as the teacher, um, who he's basically teaching his class about Darwinism, and he's arrested there on the spot. And he's telling them, "Hey, you guys have known me all these years. What the heck? Hey, man. I mean, it starts with all these people, men of the town, shall I say? And the place is called. Does anyone remember what the place is called?
Hillsborough.
Hillsborough. Yes. So all these men of the city of Hillsborough are marching over and end up marching together and marching into the classroom and arresting him right there. Because he is teaching a godless thing to a very religious town. Um, and he's gotten in trouble according to code. Does anyone remember the code?
The code.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember the code.
All right. What was the code in Inherit the Wind that the teacher had gotten in trouble for?
Oh, wait, was it 37 maybe?
Search. Let's see. What was the code that the teacher had broken the law in Inherit the Wind?
Are you asking Chat GPT?
I'm checking with what. Okay, looking. I was hoping that they actually stated the code. Oh, I guess they're not really saying it, but it's basically breaking the law prohibiting the teaching of evolutionary theory in the state's schools. Um, so I forget exactly the code, but it's the same code in both this one and the remake. So, yeah, there's another one from 1999, which is about 30 to 40 years later.
Huh.
But in any case, he breaks the law according to them, and they don't want this stuff taught to their kids, and he's jailed. And I do believe that we have a moment where Rachel, his intended fiancée, who is the daughter of the town preacher, um, he basically, which her father is against her having a relationship with him now because of his uh, so-called theories of Darwinism, and thinks that he's an evil man. And in fact, it isn't the first time her father has damned anyone. Because apparently there was a 13-year-old kid who he had damned because of something or other, and the kid drowned.
Oh, yeah, but I forgot what that part was about.
Yeah, apparently her father had been against what the kid had said, and basically had damned the kid to hell, and the families or the kid's parents were actually sitting there in this trial, while this trial was going on. But in any case, so Rachel comes and visits the school teacher because she's in love with him, and she tries to convince him to, you know, recant everything that he's said and just stop like doing what he was doing, because they could always go back backwards from this. If you just stop saying everything like this, we can be the same. We can be normal. We can go on and be husband and wife and everything. You know, she's not standing by him in any capacity. She wants him to go back from whence he came from, and he can't. He would rather stand for what he believes in, and at first he's a little cowed by the town and their treatment of him, you know. Uh, but then this lawyer, this newspaper reporter comes in, played by Gene Kelly, and he's basically on his side. He's there to stir up trouble, technically, but technically he's on his side because he said that he's behind getting him a lawyer to come and defend him, and it just so happens to be Henry Drummond. Okay, so
Yes.
and he's a well-known lawyer, I guess, and but so is the prosecutor. The prosecutor comes into town. Okay.
Yes.
And he comes in like he's a politician anyway, ways, and all these people of the town are all singing his name, singing his name because he fully believes in the Lord God Almighty, and their old ways of religion, and so they're like worshiping the ground that he
Uh,
drives in on.
oh yeah, and you know what's a major irony about that?
What?
The way they were treating that prosecutor was basically idolatry, and that's a major sin in the Bible.
Oh yeah. They were treating him like he was the golden calf, man.
Exactly. That's it.
Like he was a god himself,
Yeah,
and
that's
that he
ironic.
and the way those people were about our teacher, man. They they literally wanted. And they didn't want the newspaper man there. They thought he was an outsider. They called him evil and an atheist, and they wanted to drive them out of town too. And the politician, what was his name, by the way?
The politician.
Yeah, the guy came through in town, and that I was trying to
The
remember his name.
the prosecutor.
Yeah,
Matthew Brady.
yes, but they called him with his middle name too, like it was
Uh,
important.
Harrison, I think.
Yep, Matthew Harrison Brady.
Yes.
They said his whole name like it was important as can be. Um, Tammy, what did you think of the teacher involved? What did you think of what he did? Was it a crime according to you?
No, I don't think what the teacher did was a crime because, you know, I honestly believe both ways exist. Just I don't think they exist simultaneously. God and Darwin, um, because um, science has shown things as far as cells and how cells multiply and how things grow, which, us as human beings, it is one of the greatest evolutions because a baby, a baby starts from cells, okay, and from what we call it egg, and it gets fertilized, but it's still all cells. So if you if you only believe in God, how do you explain how a baby actually forms? If you don't believe in Darwin too, okay?
Huh.
Because that's how any baby, whether it's us as human beings or other animals, especially mammals, you know, um, so I don't think what he was teaching was wrong because he's showing how every living thing becomes living.
Yeah, but if you believe in science, you are evil. Science is from the devil.
Right, and that because that's the way these people were thinking back then, and they weren't thinking of the big picture.
And if
You
you
know, you
and
plant you plant a seed for your crop to grow. Okay, well, the seed of that corn that you planted, it's a seed. It has to get water. It has to be fertilized or whatever. It still has the
it's
in
still
its
part
own
of the evolution of the corn.
right. It's still basically a living in a way a living thing. So you have to believe in Darwin in order. You look around, everything goes back to science. You know, God is not sitting there making that cornstalk grow. That one
Your mom
cornstalk
and your
grow.
dad have different types or similar. I don't know what blood types they have, but when they made you, you were the evolution of them.
Right. So no, I don't think he was teaching anything wrong because everything, even now, everything you look around at, it evolved from something.
And any child that your children have together with their spouses is the evolution of you too. So
I mean, even that
Mm,
you sitting here looking at my kitty Diego, he evolved from in his mommy into a kitten, and then was
ah,
born, and then he was and he was born as a kitten.
I
Now
mean,
he's not. Now he's no longer a kitten.
if
He's
you took my little girl and breeded it with my turtle, their children would be the evolution of a kitty turtle.
what? Wait, did you say my girl and the turtle?
My little girl Melissa, my
Oh,
my cat, which
ah.
lives in the next room next to where I am. If I breeded her with that of my turtle, they would have turtle kitties, and that would be the evolution of them. I mean, it's not that it would work because
I don't want to. I don't even want to think of it working, but yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
one monstrous one monstrosity because we already know that my cat infected my mother. So,
Ouch. How? Why?
uh,
She bitter.
she bit her when she was trying to clip her nails
Oh.
and
But the whole
infected
thing
her
is,
for quite a little bit.
there's nothing wrong with what the teacher was teaching because
No,
it's there. It's part of life. You know.
Oh yeah. Actually, I think it's wronger what people do even nowadays. Like most children hear the story of Adam and Eve sooner than they hear the story of evolution. And they should at least hear both stories at the same time and be given the freedom to believe whichever sounds more plausible to them.
Well, genetics is a part of evolution. So to me, there are bits and pieces of each. To me, I feel like each religion has its own merits to stand on its own legs and why. But at the center of most religions, there is often a deity that they pray to, and the most general one is God. And unfortunately, most people are God fearing folks and brainwashed
Yeah.
into believing that anything other than the word of God is evil. But in any case, so we have two lawyers coming to Hillsborough, but before that even happens, the town's gentlemen actually get together and gather in a meeting, and they're discussing the fact that they might have actually gone too far because the newspapers are having a heyday with them and the things that they're standing for and behind the fact that they've jailed this person. Okay, because evolution is actually becoming a more talked about thing across the United States, and them stepping back on their heels and doing this to this man is unheard of. You know,
Yes.
the fact that they are digging their heels in on this particular thing is not exactly helping progress.
True.
What do y'all think about the townspeople so far? Do you think that they are nuts?
I think that they they're closed minded and or narrow minded about what's going on. They
Uh,
don't want to look at the big picture and don't want to look at everything that is around them. They're
Pretty much,
focusing
yeah.
only focusing on the Bible, and you can believe in the Bible and believe in God just fine. There's no problem with that. But you have to understand that everything around you though follows Darwin's theory,
And
which
you
they don't want to
shouldn't be
look at.
allowed to force other people to share your beliefs.
Right.
Well, they don't want to change their beliefs in any shape or form. They are just fine with being brainwashed into thinking that there is no coloring outside of the Bible. You know, outside of the church, and yet as the preacher was preaching, he was preaching hatred.
Oh, yes, most definitely. He even said his own daughter was going to burn in hell or something like that.
Well, yeah. And when they were there at the preaching moment that the preacher had actually gathered, even even Brady had to step forward and say a few words to disperse the crowd. Be- uh, be-
Yes.
because that was not how he was brought up to uh, you know he was taught, and at least he one thing he was saying is that he was taught to be able to forgive.
In that moment, I was actually quite positively surprised by Brady, but didn't it eventually turn out that it was just an act, that he was just trying to get Rachel to say things he could use against her in the court next day?
Well, that was wrong of him as a friend and whatnot to her. He forced her to say things that she never meant to say, and he betrayed her, and that betrayal did not work in his favor.
Pretty much.
But
But
yeah,
the
ultimately, uh, there is a trial that is brought to this town. Um, and there's a moment where they're picking jurors. Unfortunately, they only show two jurors that I feel like I feel like they should have gone through more jurors just to show you all the jurors or whatnot. But showing one that they chose not to, and one that they chose to keep. And I like the juror that they both chose to keep for some reason because of the way that Spencer Tracy, who plays Henry Drummond, drew out what his beliefs were and the fact that he was a grocer, and all he cared about was grocery. And said, my wife does enough religion or carries enough religion for the both of us. All I care about is going to work and taking care of my groceries.
yeah, he does say that.
And the fact that he doesn't care for religion too much.
Yeah, just enough to be nominally allowed to call himself a Christian,
And the
I
one before,
guess.
and the one before that, uh, Drummond initially dismissed the guy, and he's like, "You can't just dismiss the guy just because he's an honest, God-fearing gentleman. You at least have to go up and question him." So he goes up and questions him, and he's like, "How are you doing?" He's like, "Oh no, I guess I feel okay." Okay, sir, you're dismissed.
yeah.
Hey, he told him that he had to go up and question him. He didn't tell him what kind of question. But I actually think that he was trying to get enough jurors on there that weren't as religious, that weren't going to be biased to his client, you know. And
Yeah.
it's hard to do that in this kind of atmosphere, you know. In fact, that's why he almost like left the whole entire thing because during the whole thing, once they dismissed most of his witnesses because evidently Darwinism or the scientists had nothing to do with their laws. I mean, Tammy, what did you think about that? The fact that every single one of his witnesses were shut down because
Well, that
because
wasn't right because I think the judge was totally wrong in that because they're witnesses. You know, he has a they have a right to call witnesses. You know that it wasn't right that because maybe the judge himself did not believe in these different scientists and their theories or their thoughts or whatever doesn't mean you're supposed to dismiss them. They're a witness.
Yeah, by the end of it, I actually had the impression that the judge gave the verdict he did because he was just sick of all the bullshit and just wanted it to be over.
Well, Tammy recognized that the actor or the where she'd seen the judge from. Where
Oh,
have
yeah,
you seen the judge from?
MASH.
And what did he play on MASH?
Colonel Potter.
potato.
Okay. Well, if any
Colonel
of you know
Potter.
Sorry.
who Colonel Potter was, that was the guy who played the judge in Inherit to Win. So there were quite a lot of people, and the guy who played the preacher, I know I've seen him on many different things as like a sheriff. He might have even actually been on Dukes of Hazzard.
No, he wasn't
No,
on Dukes. No, I think
do
he
you
was
think?
on some a western,
Okay,
but not on Dukes of Hazzard. I watched Dukes of Hazzard religiously. He was not on there.
Religiously, huh? Pun intended.
the
I wanted the damn car. Okay.
General fucking Lee.
Yes.
Even though
All the
they,
other, all the other women that watched that show wanted the Duke boys. The men wanted Daisy Duke. I wanted the damn car
which is funny, they banned the car from television because of it being racist.
because of the flag on the top of the car. Yes.
Which
Wait, how can a car be racist?
because certain people claim that flag that was on top of the General Lee was a symbol of slavery when it was actually a symbol of freedom.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So
the show actually even got taken off the air.
Oh,
at least some of the episodes that showed the General Lee or whatnot, which was stupid.
Which was like every episode.
Yeah, tell me about it.
and
I think
seriously,
I think they only left the ones in that didn't show the actual top of the car.
Or edited the fuck out of them, you know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was part of the stupid cancel culture.
yeah, and those people think they're fighting for someone's rights or freedom or whatever, yet what they are
It's
doing
like
is
leave
basically
classic TV
fascism.
alone. Leave classic TV alone. You know.
I think this whole cancel culture thing actually made racism worse by
Yes,
what they did.
yes.
There was nothing. Nobody had a problem with a black lady being looked at for Aunt Jemima syrup. Nobody had a problem with a black gentleman being on Uncle Ben's rice. Tell them, okay?
Yes.
I'm sure
You
Aunt
know,
Jemima and Uncle Ben are rolling in their graves and like nobody will remember us now.
this whole
Pretty much.
this whole thing just made racism I think explode, and not in a good way. This
I totally
cancel
agree.
culture thing.
I totally agree. But and was there racism in this movie?
Uh,
In a way, yes, because
in
they
this movie,
if you did not believe that what they believed, the the people that were believing the Bible, if you did not believe what they believed, you were outcast. You were
You were
Satan. You were
outsiders.
this. So
well,
You were atheists.
in a way that is a racism because they're saying, you know, they're
well,
against you.
it is discrimination, but not based on race, but something else.
They're based on belief.
The fact that you don't believe in God, you godless people, you outsiders.
And the thing was that the whole thing was he never said, Darwin never said, the teacher, he never said that he did not believe in God anymore. He never did.
Uh, He didn't believe in the church because of the because of the father and his beliefs. In fact,
Yes.
it was because of that 13-year-old child that had been that had drowned because he believing that he was a damned creature, that he was going to hell.
But he did not say that he did not believe in God anymore. He didn't. He just
Yeah,
didn't.
that was Dick York playing Bertram Cates.
He just didn't believe in how strongly everybody else was. But he never said that he did not believe in God anymore. You know, he just didn't believe in how they did.
Oh,
You
if you
know.
wanted to know the actor's name that played in MASH, his name was Harry Morgan.
Yep.
So, and Philip Coolidge was it was the name of the mayor, Mayor Jason Carter. Just looking. Oh, guess what? The guy who played the WGN radio technician who came in, that was a very young Norman Fell, who played Mr. Roper on uh
Three's Company.
Three's Company. Yeah.
I do pay attention to some things here. You know.
Yep. So I just thought that was interesting because I saw his face here as the WGN radio technician.
You know, before you, even if I did recognize somebody, I just didn't. You know. Okay. But now it's kind of fun to recognize somebody from something else. Sometimes you take it a little bit too far and have to
Me?
list yes, because sometimes you have to list the whole 100 and things that they've been in. Where I think
Well, I
where
like to.
I think it's fun though that I recognize somebody from something when I normally wouldn't have really paid attention to that, you know.
Ah,
But I don't need a whole rundown of their whole itinerary, you know.
well, oftentimes I'll remember people from other things that we've watched, and I think it's kind of cool.
I do too.
Like when I recognize the Philip Coolidge dude, and I swear he was in one other one that the guy who played the mayor. I swear he was in one other one that we've watched so far. So I'm trying to remember all the ones that he's been in, and I know he was in Boomerang and The Tingler and this one, and I swear he was in one other court.
Well, I know Harry was in other things that we've watched too.
Yeah. So, in any case, so I know we somewhat talked about about the trial, but I do have to say that the kids that were part of Kate's class when they showed up, I thought that they were gonna cause trouble first because they were standing like they were gonna cause trouble, but instead they were actually all on the lawyer's side. Drummond when he came into town, and you can tell what kind of people these town folk were, especially when a farmer came up to Drummond and was like, "I'm a farmer, and we don't take no likings to people who don't believe in our ways." You know,
But that was the farmer though that stuck up for him when they wanted to put him in contempt of court.
was it?
Yes, so the father of the boy that drowned is the one that came up and put his farm up. Remember?
Yeah.
To help out,
Yes.
to help him out, and so
Well, yeah, because he was literally going to leave the court because he wasn't getting anywhere, and they weren't playing fair. So he was literally going to leave, and it's because of his snarky remarks is why the judge kind of held him in contempt to begin with. If he had just left instead of like saying what he said to the judge and why he was leaving, he would have been able to leave. But he was holding him in contempt because he was basically telling him that you know that he wasn't doing things fairly. You know,
And no judge wants to be told you're not doing things fairly.
well, no, none of them do, even though they do things unfairly.
Yeah.
I mean, remember that Rittenhouse thing? Do you think that kid should have gotten off scot free?
Well, no.
I'm sorry, who I didn't understand.
Oh, I don't know if you can explain it, Tammy, better than I can.
No, I didn't. I'm not sure I distinguished your words properly.
There was a kid who had the last name of Rittenhouse, and
Oh,
he it was he okay
It was a
protests.
demonstration, and he had a gun that he shouldn't have had that somebody else bought for him. And he was out demonstrating, and he actually ended up killing somebody during the demonstration. And he ended up getting off basically scot free, even though he shouldn't have. He wasn't able to buy the gun, so somebody else bought it for him. He didn't have a permit to have the gun. He shouldn't have been out demonstrating with this gun that he didn't even have a permit to have. You know, and yet, he got away with it all.
Yep. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's like I don't know. It's one of those situations where you wish justice would have been served. So, but it was not. Anyways,
yeah.
that's why I've mentioned his name in some of my writings before. But in any case, that being said, he was held in contempt, and initially the newspaper people behind him said that they were going to bail him out. Oh, he said he was going to hold him in contempt for $2,000. And he was like, "Why don't you make it 4,000?" And the judge was like, "Okay, it's 4." And that's when the newspaper a guy said, "Well, I can get my newspaper people to cover the bail, and whatnot." But the farmer said he could put his farm up for collateral. And at first he was like, "No," but then the banker that was sitting right next to him said that, "I know that his farm is worth definitely more than that, and he has some equity, so I vouch for him." You know, so he came back, and he basically brought all these scientists with theories and whatnot, and well, actually, no. I think it's Gene Kelly's character who gave him the Bible, and for some reason, he sat there smiling to himself, Drummond dead, and he came back with that Bible and the Book of Darwin, and he was not allowed to make to enter the Book of Darwin into it at all again. So it was like, okay, I'll play it your way, and he put Brady to the stand because he is this utmost authority on the Bible. Okay, so he used his words against him, and he used them very eloquently too. And he got him so worked up, he broke him. I'm pretty sure he broke him. Let's see. Here's one. We must not abandon faith. Faith is the most important thing. Then why did God plague us with the capacity to think, Mr. Brady? Why do you deny the one faculty of man that raises him above all other creatures of the earth? The power of his brain to reason. What other merit have we? The elephant is larger. The horse is swifter and stronger. The butterfly is more beautiful. The mosquito is more prolific. Even the simple sponge is more durable. But does a sponge think? I don't know. I'm a man, not a sponge. But do you think a sponge thinks? If the Lord wishes a sponge to think, it thinks. Do you think a man should have the same privilege as a sponge? Of course, gesturing to the defendant, Bertram Cates. Then this man wishes to have the same privilege of a sponge. He wishes to think. Which is basically what he said was on trial. You know, the ability to think.
Yeah, I actually thought the best moment of Brady getting broken was when he started to list all the books of the Bible. That was, at that point, he really sounded like a broken machine.
Well, yeah, he towards the end, he was like, he was naming out the books of the Bible. By that time, you could tell he was broken.
Yes.
He was a man broken of his principles. Here's another one. Colonel Drummond, what reasons can you possibly have? This is when he was to withdraw the case. He indicates to the crowd, well, there are 200 of them. And the crowd reacted angrily. And if that's not enough, there's one more. And I think my client has already been found guilty. Is Mr. Drummond saying that that this expression of an honest emotion will in any way influence the court's impartial administration of the law? I say that you cannot administer a wicked law impartially. You can only destroy, you can only punish. And I warn you that a wicked law like cholera destroys everyone it touches, its upholders as well as its defiers. Colonel Drummond, can't you understand that if you take a law like evolution and you make it a crime to teach it in the public schools, tomorrow you can make it a crime to teach it in the private schools, and tomorrow you can make it a crime to read about it, and soon you may ban books and newspapers, and then you may turn Catholic against Protestant and Protestant against Protestant, and try to foist your own religion upon the mind of man. And if you can do one, you can do the other, because fanaticism and ignorance is forever busy and needs feeding. And soon, Your Honor, with banners flying and with drums beating, you'll be marching backward, through the glorious ages of that 16th century with bigots. Burn the man who dared bring enlightenment and intelligence to the human mind. I hope counsel does not mean to imply that this court is bigoted. Well, Your Honor, has the right to hope. I have the right to do more than that. You have the power to do more than that.
Oh yeah, the judge really annoyed me in that scene.
Yep. So, what did y'all think about both of those scenes and those statements, Tammy?
I thought they were very powerful and they were very meaningful, and um, I think they brought the point forward. It's just I think it fell on deaf ears. I just don't think anybody was actually really listening.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
because ultimately, this was not a court case that was won. When they came back with the sentencing, they found him guilty of the crime, and yes, yes, they were able to continue it to the Supreme Court, but initially in that town at that time, uh, they were able to win, even though it broke that man's pride. That man's pride was broken because those people of that town, ended up laughing at him, and they put him up on a pedestal. And once they saw that he was weak in their eyes, he is now no longer the man for their people. You know, in a way, I would say they won and they lost.
Well, truth be told, the teacher walked free, and all he had to pay was $100. Like that's not that bad, really.
No.
But $100 back then was a lot of money.
Yes.
Ah, oh, okay, true, yeah.
And you got to think that technically this is supposedly at like 1925. $100 definitely did go a long way. That was like a lot of money.
What amount would it be comparable to nowadays?
What was $100 worth in 1925?
Huh.
$100 was worth $100,100.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
A hundred of our dollars now was worth $100,100 then.
100? Holy hoot hoot.
Don't you find that uh, amazing?
Yes.
Yeah, our dollar systems, unfortunately, because of the national debt that we have in the U.S. of A. Because of our presidents getting us in debt over time, uh, has not made our dollars worth very much these days. Although it's still worth more than other countries. It's it's pathetic on how much it was actually worth then. You know, because $100 you could stretch a long ways back then. I mean, uh, Tammy, how much was gas? Is the earliest gas that you remember?
Well, I didn't really pay attention to it till I started driving, so I was able to get gas for like 95 cents a gallon.
I remember my grandpa telling me he could get it for 25 cents a gallon.
Well, when I was a kid and my grandparents went and filled up their vehicles, it probably was cheaper, but I didn't really pay attention, like I said, till I started driving, so I didn't pay attention till I was like 16 years old or so.
But
But
yeah, things used to be a lot cheaper. I mean, you'd be able to buy a pack of gum for 5 cents.
I could get a pack of cigarettes for $1.
Quarter? You could watch a double feature drive-in a movie for 50 cents.
I remember McDonald's like cheeseburgers only being like 39 cents. You know?
See that's you remember when they were 39 cents?
Yep.
Oh God, I'm dating a history book.
Well, she is cheating on you with a car. Okay, I'm sorry.
But in any case, but yeah, there's a lot that went on in this movie that brought this to this trial, and I thought it was an interesting look at history, or the way things were at one point in time. Uh, there were people who were brainwashed into thinking that way religiously, and that's the type of religion that the liberal party on our side of the world is kind of against, because there are still holier than thou people, and half of them they seem to clump in this like super rich mentality. But in any case, did anyone else have anything else to add to the movie? I mean, there was a relationship between Drummond and the wife of the um of Brady that
Uh,
I think we kind of skated over, and the fact that and the fact I did like this part because Rachel Brown was so mad and so disappointed by being brought to the stand that she came to speak her mind to the judge, and not the judge but the prosecutor, uh,
yes.
and his wife actually defended him, as she'd been defending him for like 40 some years, and when she basically told him that he was a fake, uh, she smacked her.
Yeah, in my
Mrs.
opinion.
Brady smacked her, and basically told her, at least he stands for something. And I've been defending him for 40 years. I believe in my husband. Can you say the same for yours? How much do you know about believing in the one that you love? That kind of thing. Which
Yeah,
is kind of true, because Rachel wasn't really standing beside him, and standing with Mr. Cates. She wasn't really putting her full beliefs behind him. You know,
oh, well, yeah, in a way, that's true.
and he basically told her, "Hey, you got to choose between us and your father." Mr. Cates said to her, and I mean, finally, she came around to standing beside him. In fact, when that lady in the crowd was like, "And you will no longer be a teacher," I felt like she should have said something to that bitch.
Yeah.
Because there was no reason for them to take his teaching privileges away for just simply teaching a different way of believing, you know.
Indeed.
But And I do have to say that they were wrong. The jury was wrong in their in their final choice. So this was another court case that we've seen where it's not it's not exactly a Perry Mason trial. If you know anything about Perry Mason, I don't think there's many court cases that Perry Mason has ever lost. uh,
uh, yeah, actually, I'm not. I heard the name somewhere, but I'm not really familiar.
Perry Mason was like the Law and Order of its day. It was a black and white seasoned thing with like 30 movies afterwards, and maybe about 6 movies before that didn't even have the main actor who played him for so many years. That he basically uh, contracted a private detective and had his own lawyer firm, and he took cases and took them to trial and won them. And there were also little dime store novels that were written about the cases before they became television. So I believe the author was Earl Stanley Gardner. You would see these novels with green pages sitting on at grocery stores, and they would be mystery novels. So, um, hugely popular novelist, hugely popular television show. If you ever heard the theme song, you would know that it was something. Da 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 da. Da 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 da
Cool.
da 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 da. But yeah, I would have to say this is the second one because To Kill a Mockingbird was another one that the you were rooting for the right side, but the right side did not win. You know, were you rooting for the townspeople?
No,
Tammy, were you rooting for the townspeople?
Hell no.
the
And
the
and and
only uh, I'm sorry.
well, and the townspeople won. So this was one where you know you didn't expect it to go the other way, but it did. You know, but you can
Cool.
also tell it's a thing of the times because that's what people believed. People believed that teaching anything other than God was a crime. But in any
Mm,
case, I believe that we are now at the end of the movie. I did like the dialogue of the newspaper man. For some reason, the things he kept saying were something else. Like I know that I'm a a a rustled piece of butter or a rusted piece of butter, but I swear I'm on the same side of the bread as you are. Things of that nature. Just weird dialogue that kind of goes with it.
Yep.
But let's look at the let's look at production. So, what did y'all think about the production overall?
I think it worked for it. I mean, there wasn't really much to do except for show the different areas of town and the courtroom, the vehicles, the dress of the times, the thoughts of the times. So I think they
Well,
did a
yeah,
good
they
job.
they were singing about hanging Kate's and God in the same sentence. So it
Uh,
got pretty gruesome for a moment.
yes, they wanted to hang his lawyer too.
Yep. So, but what did you think about production, Boris?
Oh, same as Tammy, pretty much. It didn't really require anything out of the ordinary, but yeah, what was needed in terms of production was done well
I,
enough.
I thought to myself, how is it that a prosecutor is able to bring in a basket of chicken to eat while he's on trial? I don't see that too much where you're allowed to eat while you're prosecuting for a trial. Oh, that was another thing. You don't normally see the prosecutor being put on trial
Oh yeah, as a witness. Yeah.
as a witness, but um, I know that was something that happened well, no, there was something different that happened with a prosecutor in your Boomerang movie, where the prosecutor actually
Switched sides.
switched sides or helped the other side, so
Y-
to speak.
yes, that was really cool. And and it was based on true events, which is even more cool.
Well, now we've seen something that has happened to prosecutors twice that normally isn't done.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I was kind of left wondering what was the point of Brady's death scene. Like it didn't really add that much to the story.
Well, he just unfortunately he just kind of died. You know, it was he was a great man, and I guess at one point in time, it's just he kind of um got way too excited, and I get what was it that they said he died of?
Uh, Something in his stomach, I think, but what exactly, I forgot.
Must have been the chicken.
Uh, but I
Well, he
wonder
did keep on eating.
is that maybe what happened in the real life case too?
I'm assuming so because this was based on true stories, and when they did things based on true stories, they normally tried at least in the '60s to try to get it right. These days, when they try to do it based on true story, they skirt more away from the truth than reality. I
Uh,
feel.
well, for example, the movie Bonnie and Clyde is from 1967, if I'm not wrong. That movie, even though it was based on the truth, it had a lot of elements that were not historically accurate.
True, they did heighten some of that for the film itself. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they even altered the members of the Barrel Gang.
Yep, and they romanticized it a little bit more than it was, I think. So,
Oh, possibly.
but that was everyone's Romeo and Juliet of crime couples. So,
Oh,
but
yes.
in any case, uh, I thought that the production was pretty good. The uh, there wasn't really anything out of the ordinary that they really did. I mean, the I did uh I mean, the fact that they sung that um, old religion song throughout. Um, I feel like the townspeople were kind of nutty. Not just kind of, they were nuts. Um, most of them should have had a brain on their selves. I don't know. It almost feels like they're like a town that lives in their own world. You know, there are some small towns that are like that who live in their own world and their own ways of thinking. Still, um, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's see what who did the music behind this movie. I'm gonna go backwards for a moment. Go back up here. Okay, all cast and crew. Cast. Go down. Okay, composer was Ernest Gold. And he was known for such movies as It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Exodus from 1960, On the Beach from 1959, and The Midnight Sky for I guess in the soundtrack, but oh, I guess he was the conductor for some of the music in the TV miniseries Lincoln, Wink of an Eye, Missile Monsters, the true story of the Civil War from 1957, The Naked Eye, Edge of Hell. Oh, Dementia. He was what part of that?
Interesting.
Jungle Drums of Africa, Iron Mountain Trail, Zombies of the Stratosphere, which that's got some stock music from him. So I guess a lot of his stuff is like stock music. Lost Planet, Airmen, Unknown World. I've heard of that one. Captive of Billy the Kid. So definitely a lot of westerns. Flying Disc Man from Mars. Between westerns and sci-fi. In a Lonely Place. Radar Patrol versus Spy King. Tokyo Joe. Going backwards. So he started his career back in like 1946. So. Alrighty. So going into favorite scenes and or favorite characters. Let's start with you, Boris. What would be a favorite scene and or a favorite character?
Favorite character probably the teacher's lawyer. I really liked his.
Henry
He was
Henry Henry Drummond.
Drummond. Yeah, I couldn't recall the last name. Uh, yes, he was my favorite character because of his eccentric speech style and the way he was. The way he would talk back to everyone without shame. I really liked that about him, and of course, he was standing for the right thing. And my favorite scene, probably the moment when Brady went completely nuts and started to list the books of the Bible like some broken record.
Okay. Um, how about you, Tammy? Favorite character or characters and or favorite scenes?
Um, I like Gene Kelly's character, the reporter.
Okay.
I liked how kind of off he was. I liked all his little sayings and everything. And he was on the side of the teacher, but he just was so different in his way of saying things and everything. But he was still on the side of the teacher and trying to work with Drummond. Favorite scene. Actually, I got a kick out of when we first are introduced to him, and he's talking to the teacher and the girlfriend, and
Okay.
they don't even know who he is at the moment, and he's just doing his whole little spew and everything. I
Hmm.
thought that was cool.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite character is often between Drummond and the Hornback, um, Gene Kelly's character, because Gene Kelly pulls off the character really well. The yes, he's for them, but he's also there because of his own um to save his own butt too, to have something to write about. But he's also there to kick the hornet's nest. You know, he is. It's kind of funny because he's a newspaper. He literally says that technically he's a man for his own gain, but it just so happens that he needs the nest here to be kicked and something to talk about. You know, uh, and so that's why he has gotten his newspaper to afford a lawyer for the guy, and the commentary between the two is kind of fun too, because at the end he basically tells him, I feel I have pity for you. I think I like that part. That's my favorite part towards the end, even though I like a lot of parts in between. I even like the commentary that he says he's the only one that can strut sitting down. uh, it because they often talk about uh, things, and towards the end, he the lawyer Drummond, he basically tells him he's alone, and he pities him because he's going to end up alone, and he's going to be alone for the rest of his life because he's chosen to be that. He has no friends, and he has nobody who cares for him, and you're just going to be alone, and nobody's going to be there for when you die. And he tells him right back, you know what? There is going to be one person there. It's going to be you. Because you know what? You're the one who fights for that kind of thing, and that's why I know you'll be there.
Interesting.
But in reality, I think that's kind of like a saying, kind of like if you choose the profession of a newspaper man, sometimes you end up being alone. You know, because you're out to piss off the world. You know, in a sense, newspaper people have always been kind of cringy.
Oh, in a way, some of them at least.
Some of them. Some of them have even killed people, like with Princess Diana. Look what happened
Oh,
there.
okay, I wasn't thinking of those kinds of cases.
Yeah. I mean, one of these days we should cover paparazzi.
Huh.
But I'm not gonna choose that one for next time. Who's actually next? That would be you, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it would be me. But this time, actually, I haven't figured out what movie I'd like to do. I think I'm gonna have to think a little bit.
Okay. Well, choose by midweek, and if anything, I'm going to hunt you down, so that you can decide within the next couple of days, so that I know at least by Wednesday. And if I don't hear from you, I'm going to message you.
Mm, fair enough.
That way, so we know. If not, I will choose something for you.
Okay.
If you need help choosing, I can always suggest something. So, and then you can decide whether you want to have us watch it or not, because I can come up with many different titles.
Knowing your movie collection, I'm not surprised.
But in any case, like, share, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess we'll see you next time here on Delusions of Grandeur. Everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.